Alrighty then, folks, what is up? What is good? How are y'all doing? Today, BlackGhostFace is going to be doing another bundle compilation, and this is all going to be SCP. Now, throwing this out there are four different SCP videos I'm going to be jumping into, and the first one is SCP 1793. Matter of fact, let me see. Yeah, 1793, and this is from SCP Explained Story and Animation. Folks, I would say go check the person out if you want to see more of theirs, but we're jumping into the first one of the three. Enjoy.
A hunter was found dead, murdered with his own gun. A farmhouse left to rot, his family having met the same fate. But with no clear motive to carry out such a grim deed, who could possibly be the killer? On a totally unrelated note, at Research Sector 71 resides SCP-1793, a small and adorably fuzzy male Oryctolagus conculeus, or, in layman's terms, European rabbit. Surrounded by several gravimeters and housed in a mammal containment cell, such high security regarding SCP-1793 could be taken as a bit overkill, as nothing about the bunny seems particularly unnatural. But SCP-1793 is no ordinary rabbit.
Of course
On the surface, nothing seems particularly striking in regards to the creature. Thought to be around 9 years old, SCP-1793 is aging at the same rate any normal rabbit would, but due to an unfortunate structural heart defect known as pulmonic stenosis, and to prevent any significant containment failure, SCP-1793 has been assigned its very own veterinary practitioner. Alongside a selection of varied fresh vegetables, SCP-1793 is provided with a veterinary-approved rabbit mix due to its condition, as well as the appropriate medical and nutritional supplementation it needs to keep healthy, or at least as healthy as it can be. Spend any amount of time observing SCP-1793, however, and its unnatural attributes begin to rear their head. Though deemed non-harmful in nature, SCP-1793 possesses the ability to, through spatial anomalies, manifest material objects at will. A pattern in the objects created is yet to be distinguished, but so far, site staff have witnessed the rabbit craft a large array of items, from foodstuffs to electronic devices to cultural artifacts to carrots. Because, duh, of course. Despite looking normal in nature, items created by the uniquely gifted SCP-1793 aren't completely ordinary. Similar to how SCP-1793 presents itself in an unexceptional way, objects manifested by the cuddly little rabbit are said to emit Cherenkov radiation while being produced, found to be in the purple-blue range of visible light. However, the spatial anomalies SCP-1793 whips up contain the exact same gravitational mass as the items they appear to mimic, and ultimately have been concluded as non-harmful. For example, if the rabbit wants to spawn a parsnip, the parsnip manifested has the same weight as a real parsnip, grown by real farmers and not by a cosmically gifted bunny. Different items have different processing times. Rabbit-spawned electrical or mechanical devices take around 15 minutes to produce, whereas foodstuffs such as beetroot, rutabaga, or even a cheeseburger, if he really wanted to treat himself, takes around 30 minutes. Interestingly enough, mimics of cultural items are able to be spawned almost instantaneously. Too bad on the wait time for that cheeseburger. I could actually really go for one.
This rabbit can spawn things? This rabbit can spawn things? Bro, that would be the greatest pet of all time. You mean to tell me this bunny rabbit can spawn things? Bro, am I the only one thinking that I would adopt this bunny rabbit? I know it's an SCP, but it's just the fact that this bunny rabbit can spawn anything it wants. I mean, if you spawn a hamburger, takes 30 minutes, I'll wait. I will wait. I would literally wait. Think about it. I don't even have to go to the store. I could be like, okay, I want you to spawn this, spawn a couple of these, a couple of those. I would wait. I'll feed you 5 to 6 times a day if that's what it takes for you to spawn this. If eating gives you strength, I would literally go out there and he could spawn his own food if he wanted to. He could spawn his own food if he wanted to. I would literally adopt this doggone bunny rabbit. I swear to God, I would.
All items manifested seem to be pristine and in working order, and most, if not all times, every item produced leans on the recreational side of things, aesthetically pleasing, though not immediately needed. It's cool to have a copy of the Mona Lisa, but it kind of cramps the style of the facility.
I don't
If given
care.
a chance, SCP-1793 also possesses the ability to manipulate nearby objects, all without physically interacting with them. So far, changes to already existing items have been small and non-threatening, like the altering of a can label to say lemon lime instead of cola, or giving a computer an extra key. Due to the consistent nature of such creations constantly spawning within SCP-1793's containment cell, observing staff have approved of the rabbit keeping a few select items, albeit small enough to fit within the room without issue. The rest of the items are to be withdrawn from the cell and kept in storage, awaiting proper analysis. Popular items of choice spawned by SCP-1793 are, not surprisingly, food. When hungry and late to be fed, SCP-1793 will manifest its favorite treat, a vegetable, to quell his hungry hankering. But despite their normal outward appearance, foodstuffs made by the rabbit are less than nutritionally dense. Upon further scientific and chemical inspection, vegetables, fruits, and the occasional biscuit spawned by SCP-1793 show higher fibrous content in relation to their real-world wild counterparts. Though not proven, as SCP-1793 is still provided with real food by the facility, it has been determined that if left to its own meal-making devices, the rabbit could not self-sustain off its own munchy manifestations. A years-long occupant of Research Sector 71, SCP-1793 never raised any real cause for concern. Many items spawned by SCP-1793 were even considered a great form of entertainment. For example, the rabbit once manifested a TV without a remote, which would have seemed inconvenient if not left on a fun game show channel. SCP-1793 even spawned a plate of Swedish meatballs, filling the sector with its deliciously aromatic scent, though perhaps in relation to SCP-3008 Infinite IKEA, staff will never know for certain. Several facility members tasked with keeping an eye on SCP-1793 grew quite fond of the rabbit, enjoying its peaceful and cuddly demeanor, albeit from afar. SCP-1793's personal vet practitioner also approved of its docile behavior and was deeply saddened by the fact that, due to its pulmonary heart disorder, his time on Earth is limited, and he might not live on for much longer. The creature's presence made many members of personnel joyous, or more appropriately, and in this particular instance, happy. But on February 27, 1996, an addendum had to be made, as SCP-1793's behavior grew concerningly odd. On one non-particular morning, an onslaught of never-before-seen items appeared all around Research Sector 71, in rooms, on chairs, in shelves, and on walls.
Is that a tank?
Through discussions with staff, it was confirmed no human could possibly be responsible for the sector's sudden influx of decor, given the amount was too large for any singular person to sneak in. With April being months away, this surely was no Fool's Day prank. After careful consideration and some security camera review, all logical conclusions pointed to one irrefutable culprit, SCP-1793. The detailed list of items spawned within Researcher Sector 71 are as follows. 1 was a set of 3 FV-4034 Challenger 2 main battle tanks, all of which were missing several parts, such as the main gun and its firing mechanisms. Not only were the tanks functionally disabled, something noted as odd, as all of SCP-1793's previous manifestations have been in working order, but they were equally missing their armor. Upon inspection of the main barrel, a discovery of an inscription had been made reading, "Intentionally disabled by the Gillespie 445 Board for Arms Non-Distribution." The second onslaught of items manifested by SCP-1793 were 82 full-size copies of Edward Hopper's Nighthawks, a 20th century painting often detailed as eerie due to the isolated nature of the piece.
Now here's the thing. Here's the thing about this rabbit though. Now I can understand, okay, the food, if he create food and you eat the food, yes, I know it's not going to be like the same as you get from the stores. I get that. But the TV, with no remote. Imagine you trying to buy a flat screen TV. He'll get one for you. And for his reward, I will feed him 5 to 6 baskets of food. I will reward him handsomely. I will reward him generously to where you got enough food to last for a whole month. To where you get me a TV. Oh my God. But the thing about it is, like that tank, it doesn't have all the parts and all that. Imagine him giving you a gun with no bullets. Okay. I mean, hey, look. Still, I don't care either way. I would still take that rabbit in as my pet. I would. Instead of my pet, he'll be my roommate. That's how that's gonna be.
In the middle of the night, surrounded by a barren United States city, Nighthawks depicts 4 lonesome subjects congregating in a fluorescently lit bar. The subject matter of the piece isn't particularly jovial either, tapping into the paranoia shrouding New York City after the attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941. Why SCP-1793 spawned not 1, but 82 copies of the piece is still unknown. The only other item spawned by SCP-1793 during the 1996 incident was deemed the oddest of them all, a single, completely normal King Edward potato. Researchers traverse the halls of Research Sector 71 absolutely terrified. None of the manifested items seem to have any relation to one another, and staff struggled to make sense of the massive collection surrounding them. Concerned, researchers quickly visited the holding cell of SCP-1793 and were instructed to review the containment's gravimeters. Revealed upon inspection was a massive spatial anomaly within SCP-1793's cell, bigger than had ever been recorded before. At approximately 100,000 kilograms, or 220,000 pounds, this gravitational mass constructed by SCP-1793 has yet to be beat, and hopefully never will be. SCP-1793 sat idle in its containment cell, unsettlingly still. With eyes wide open, conscious but unmoving, and in a presumed state of extreme concentration, the rabbit's personal vet practitioner feared that due to such intense manifestational feats, his heart could be at risk of failure. But all would soon be over, as SCP-1793's catatonic state eventually ended at a staggeringly long 47 consecutive hours, and manifested in the process was a single sheet of rough paper to prove it. What was on the paper, however, revealed something startlingly out of character for the once harmless bunny. Not too long ago, in a lone farmhouse near Whitby in the United Kingdom, lived a farmer and his family on a land prime with vegetation, fertile soil, and, most importantly, lots of rabbits. A farmer by day and a hunter by night, the countryman would often brandish his shotgun and head out for an evening excursion, searching for a bunny well-suited to feed his family. The man was good at what he did, and he was feared by forest life, bringing back several rabbits on the nightly, sufficient to plate a proper dinner. But this time, the forest, it seemed, had had enough. Dinner was served amongst the family per usual, and the farmer's shotgun hung proudly on the wall. Looming over the table, it was his most prized possession, truly one of a kind, or at least it was, until he heard a thump-like knock on the house's entryway. At such a late hour, the huntsman cautiously opened the door, and was met with not a friendly visitor, but the barrel of his own shotgun. Turning to check his own wall, but realizing the weapon had never left its place from above the table, the farmer was perplexed, until he could think no more. In a fit of rage, the perpetrator shot the huntsman dead, his family soon to meet the exact same grisly fate. Due to the loud nature of the gunshots, authorities were called to the scene, but to everyone's dismay, no suspects were found. After a sweep of the farm grounds and due to the odd nature of the situation, members of the Foundation's mobile task force were called on to investigate the area. Through inspection, the only anomaly of note was an exact duplicate of the huntsman's gun, the same one that hung over the dinner table, right down to the nicks and scratches on the barrel. But shortly after this revelation, another oddity was discovered. An idly sitting rabbit, found not quite too far from the farmhouse, wearing a collar with a low-powered radio beacon attached. Not quite sure of the correlation between the creature and the events that transpired at the house, the MTF was quick to take him in, preferring not to take any chances. He has been detained within Foundation walls to this very day. For a
He
long
did it.
and uncomfortable while, the farmhouse murder was nothing more than unsolvable. No fingerprints, discernible motive, or any other
He did
incriminating
it.
evidence left at the scene. Due to being found in such close proximity to the murders, theories were to be had over SCP-1793's involvement in the case, but nothing ever served as concrete. After the 1996 incident at Research Sector 71, however, those doubts over the Happy Bunny's involvement were about to change. During its 47 hours of deep concentration, SCP-1793 conjured the aforementioned rough piece of paper, detailing the events that transpired at the farmhouse on that one grisly night. The letter reads as follows. I am sorry for the confusion. It is difficult to concentrate. It is difficult to write as well. I am a rabbit, you see. Amongst the 3 tanks, 1 potato, and 82 copies of Nighthawks hung about the sector walls, researchers continued reading, perplexed. Having never thought amongst its many other abilities, the rabbit was capable of written communication. I am sorry for the farmer. Family for a family, I thought at the time. Seeing him eat my wife and son, you can understand. After the mess, I met a man. Well, he wasn't a man. The 3 heads gave that away. He gave me the means to live out my waning days in comfort before my weak heart gives out. He told me he would find suitable wardens to care for me as I die. I don't know if the criminals should choose their punishment, but from what I'm told, this is the nicest prison for those like me. If you ever see him, tell him I say thank you before you lock him away. At the bottom of the page lay one more sentence. Oh, and thank you for the carrots. They never do get those right. After all these years, a confession was made, and by a rabbit, no less. Angered by the slaughter of his own family, the rabbit had taken an eye for an eye, and now, as quick as it happened, the farmhouse murder could be put to rest, at least within top-secret Foundation walls. Though for years he made the staff smile, the Happy Bunny was not so happy after all. Well aware of his heart condition and impending doom, SCP-1793 wanted to be captured for his guilty crime, living out the rest of his days in the Foundation rather than traversing the lonely woods he and his family used to dwell in. Unbeknownst to authorities, the culprit had turned himself in from the very beginning, and the truth was just under their noses, and now, at least, in written form. SCP-1793 remains in Research Sector 71 to this very day. No other incidents similar to the 1996 event have been reported, but many staff members prefer not to recall the details, as ridding the building of the mass amount of items SCP-1793 manifested was presumably a tedious nightmare, except for the potato, of course. Fortunately for Research Sector 71 staff, SCP-1793's behavior remains steady and peaceful in nature, albeit a bit inconvenient at times, mostly due to its conjuring things outside its cell. Manifested items are back to the usual kind. Small cell phones, root vegetables, picture frames, exercise equipment, no more cheeseburgers, but maybe someday. All manifestation times have remained steady from when first documented as well, and the rabbit shows no outward aggression or intent on harming anyone it comes across. However, due to the 1996 incident and the confession to the farmhouse family murders, SCP-1793 has been officially classified as Euclid. SCP-1793's personal veterinary practitioner assumes that SCP-1793 does not have much time left to live. His heart condition worsens by the day, but at least his closing moments on Earth will surely be comfortable, somewhat cushy, and full of carrots. All the while behind containment walls. Whether or not SCP-1793 still guiltily dwells on the crime it committed is unknown, as no new printed letters have been conjured, and any further attempts to communicate via written words have been null. However, it does seem to be satisfied with its choice of incarceration. The SCP Foundation has yet to track down the 3-headed anomaly the rabbit detailed in its written confession, the one that coaxed SCP-1793 to turn himself in to be detained. The staff is perplexed that the undocumented creature is aware of the Foundation's existence, and, as of now, has deemed this level of awareness as a potential threat. The whereabouts of this creature is unknown, but staff are doing their due diligence to make sure it is found, starting its search around the farmhouse where presumably it met with SCP-1793 for the first time. A happy bunny. Happy, or so it seemed. How long SCP-1793 has left for this Earth is ultimately up for his waning heart to decide. Why he doesn't just manifest a new one for himself is, for now, untold. Now go check out SCP Professor Kane Pathos Crow Explained,
That's a good question.
and what SCP-529 Josie the Half-Cat does during SCP-5000 for more.
You open your eyes, only to find...
Okay, so if I jump into the next SCP right here, I'm going to talk about this Just Happy Bunny. So first off, I thought that, so when they explained what he did, and that farmer killed his wife and son, I'm thinking he manifested, let's say, a doppelganger and made him kill the farmer. Made him kill them. Because it's perfectly obvious that what would you do if someone killed your family member? You would do the same. You're not going to just take that lying down. No. You'll do something about it. But I thought he, did it in a way. But a three-headed entity did it and told him to go, since you're slowly dying and everything, and you're outside by yourself, nowhere to go to and all that. Bruh. And the thing that bothers me is that, why couldn't he not make another heart? But I guess it wouldn't be the same thing. But if he made a gun, the exact same gun that killed that guy his family killed, that was very detailed from head to toe, I believe that if he took enough concentration to make another heart just like his, I believe he would have lived on, honestly. I believe he would. I don't know how long it would have taken for him to make a heart that's exactly like his, but I believe he would have got it done, but he chose not to. But yeah, that was it for the Happy Bunny. I ain't gonna lie, having that bunny around, your life is gonna be completely happy. Even though the food may not be like the real deal, if it tastes, if he makes a hamburger and it tastes like a hamburger, I'll still eat it though. I still would. So the next one is SCP-2450 Teeth, and this one is from Dr. Bob. You know it, you heard it. Let's jump into it.
Find something blocking your vision. Are those teeth? Human teeth?
Whoa!
Growing out of your eyes? Oh no.
Oh my God!
No.
Oh my
Taking
God!
the subway can be a real hit or miss experience. On one hand, it's cheaper than driving.
No. We already starting off like that. No. That. I'm thinking you open your eyes and you see a creature about to devour you. Teeth growing out of your eyes. I can already tell this is going to be gruesome.
Especially with gas prices these days, it's convenient, eco-friendly, and removes any potential stress about where to park. But it can also be hot, poorly maintained, and worst of all, it's filled with the public. These are the thoughts running through the woman's head as she stands on the subway on the way home from work. She holds onto a nearby pole for balance, struggling to maintain a bubble of personal space as a steady stream of new passengers climb on at each stop. She can feel her chest tightening with anxiety, and she takes a deep breath to loosen the stress. Just a couple more stops to go, and then she can get out of here and retreat to the comfort of her apartment. The train car slows down, and the doors open for the penultimate stop. Great! After this one, she'll be home free. Of course, more people climb on. Everybody has places to go, she reminds herself. It's fine. But as one pale, jumpy-looking man crowds a little bit too close to the pole she's holding, she feels her anxiety levels spike again.
Oh no.
Why won't he just respect her personal space? Come on, buddy. It's a crowded train, but there's enough room to take a step back. She's working up the nerve to say something when the train jerks suddenly, starting back up. The sharp motion sends the man rocking forward, and he bumps into her, hard. She feels a sudden sharp pain in her hand and looks down to see a speck of blood. Seriously? She swears at the strange man, unable to help herself. He glances down, and his eyes widen. He apologizes profusely and backs away from her, unmistakable terror in his eyes. A bit of an overreaction, she thinks. She just yelled a bit. It isn't as if she was going to hurt him. But he pushes through the crowd, moving away from her, and she doesn't care to follow. The train slows, and the doors slide open again. Thank goodness, her stop. She shoves her way out of the train car as fast as she can, and doesn't slow down until she's unlocking the door to her apartment. Time to tend to the weirdest injury she's ever gotten. She disinfects the wound on her hand, and begins to apply a bandage. Now that she's slowed down, she can get a better look at it. She had assumed the guy's keys had poked her or something, but now, examining it more carefully, it looks kind of like a bite? Did he have some kind of animal up his sleeve or something? It all happened so fast, she couldn't really tell. Better to be safe than sorry. She'll go get a rabies vaccine tomorrow. With that plan in place and a bandage applied to her hand, she quickly forgets about the hellish subway ride, the nervous man, and the strange bite. The next day, she gets her rabies shot and puts the whole bizarre encounter out of her mind for good. And it stays there, out of sight and out of mind, until about a week later, when her gums begin to ache. It starts with a twinge, a bit of discomfort one morning that wakes her up before her alarm. But as the day goes on, the ache grows more and more difficult to ignore. She finds herself chewing on her pen during meetings, alleviating the itching, painful feeling in her gums with the pressure of it. A few days later, it's all she can think about. She half considers picking up one of those hard plastic rings for teething babies. At that point, she realizes it's time to go to the dentist. They'll know what to do. But when the dentist leans her back in that adjustable chair and peers into her mouth, he is just as clueless as she is, perhaps even more so. She's presenting symptoms of a condition known as hyperdontia, he explains. She is, at the age of 30 years old, growing new teeth. Not wisdom teeth that are coming in, but a whole new row of teeth just behind the ones she already has. He advises her to come back in once the teeth have grown in all the way, and they can discuss next steps then.
Next step is we need to do a teeth surgery. You mean to tell me that I'm growing a new... No, you should be freaking out. You're growing a new row of teeth. Listen to these words. New row of teeth. You already have a row of teeth. No. You're growing a brand new row of teeth? That's some sci-fi shit right there. Growing a new row of teeth. I would have lost my mind knowing that. You mean to tell me I'm about to become a freaking Petey Piranha? I'm growing a new row of teeth? I'm like a shark, but a mutation type shark. Bro, a new row of teeth? That's why she's been teething? Yo, she got bit by that guy, and that guy was infected with some type of virus that is just unknown from this world. She's growing a new row of teeth.
She calls in sick to work the next day. She lies and tells them it's the flu. How could she explain the truth? But at least there's a solution in sight. The dentist will help her figure out what to do next. And surely this will be the worst of it, right?
Yes!
Unfortunately, she couldn't be more wrong. When she wakes up the next day, she notices some difficulty breathing through her nose, accompanied by a feeling of discomfort in her nostrils. Oh great, is she actually sick now? She goes to blow her nose, but nothing comes out. She rubs at her nostrils and is startled by a sudden sharp pain and the sensation of something solid in there. What the hell is going on? She rushes to the bathroom mirror, tilting her head back to get a better look. When she can make out what is blocking her nostrils, her jaw drops. Teeth. They're smaller than the ones in her mouth and somewhat obscured, but there's no doubt about it. Little rows of teeth have erupted inside of her nose.
That what goes on through your mind knowing you see that? What goes on through your mind knowing that teeth are coming out of your nose? I would have been fine knowing that I'm blowing my nose if it comes out. It would have been something else than that, but there's teeth in her nose. Level 100 of holy shiznit. That is just by far disturbing right there.
She calls her dentist and schedules an immediate appointment. She struggles to explain on the phone, but no matter what words she chooses, she knows the doctor won't truly understand until he sees her condition with his own eyes. And when he does see it, he can't stop himself from crying out in shock. This is no ordinary case of hyperdontia.
This is worse.
This is something else entirely. Something
Out
that should be
of this
medically
world.
impossible. Seeing the appearance of teeth inside of the woman's nose, the dentist decides to perform a thorough examination of the rest of her face and head. Much to his and her horror, he finds small teeth beginning to erupt in her ear canals too. He warns that if they are not removed, they could cause permanent damage to her hearing. There's no doubt about it. For the sake of her well-being, the dentist must perform the strangest extractions of his career. The woman is given an anesthetic, and he gets to work. By the time he is finished, the dentist has pulled 36 teeth of varying sizes and shapes from her mouth, nose, and ears. It was a harrowing affair, but at least it's over. He prescribes pain medication, an antibiotic, and some time off of work, and advises the woman to give him a call if she experiences anything like this again. Neither of them will say it aloud, but they're both privately terrified that she'll have to come back in and do it all over again.
No, you're gonna just no. You're gonna pull the plug on me. I don't care. I don't care. Pull the plug on me. I'd be damned if I'm gonna be going through that again. The nose, one thing, but the ears, anesthetic, and there's 36 of that happening. Imagine she was not under anesthetic. Can you imagine the pain going through her body, knowing that you're removing teeth from my nose? Like you know, people be removing nose hair from their nose, be like like that. Imagine teeth, and there's more than 10 in her nose, on each one. Her ears, nah. Pull the plug. I'm calling it.
For the next few weeks, the woman feels like she's back to normal. She's a bit shaken up by the experience, a bit exhausted, but otherwise it all seems to be resolved. Then the aches start up again, not just in her gums this time, but in her ears, in her nose, and more terrifying of all, in new places too. She can feel them, the germs of new teeth growing under the surface in between her fingers and her toes, even in her eyelids. The feeling was unpleasant and distracting before, but now it is absolute agony. She can barely dial the telephone to contact her dentist, but she manages to call him and drag herself down to the office. At first, he doesn't want to believe it, but then he performs an X-ray. The images that come back turn his stomach, and he nearly vomits onto the floor. He can see them clear as day. Teeth, growing everywhere. The woman feels that unique ache, the building pressure of something struggling to grow, ready to burst through the skin and be born. More teeth in her mouth and teeth in her eyes, her ears, all over her body. Even if he extracts every tooth again, even if he plucks out each new growth, there will be more waiting to replace them. Unsure of what else to recommend, he advises the woman to check herself into the hospital. Whatever her affliction is, it has progressed beyond his capabilities.
This is beyond my power.
Weeks later, the woman is lying in her hospital bed, weak, exhausted, barely able to move. Her skin is dotted with teeth. Her doctors tried to perform surgery to remove some of the teeth before they could erupt, but the incisions became tiny mouths filled with even more teeth. Now, they've all but given up. She can barely open her eyes to get a look at the strange figures that enter her hospital room, promising to help get to the bottom of her condition. They're scientists, they say, and they specialize in unusual conditions like hers. This poor, unfortunate woman is considered the first recorded patient to be infected with SCP-2450. SCP-2450 is an infectious disease, the most notable symptom of which is the manifestation of severe hyperdontia in unusual parts of the body. The initial source of the infection has been traced to the location now known as Building 2450, a former men's bathroom in a company service station off of a major motorway in the United Kingdom. It is unknown exactly how the infection is transmitted, but Level 5 HAZ suits have been ineffective at containing and preventing the infection. The disease can affect a wide variety of mammalian species, including but not limited to rodents, dogs, and humans. Approximately 23% of mammals exposed to the initial infection source area will contract SCP-2450. Infection can also be passed through a bite, provided the bite is deep enough to draw blood. Infections from bites occur at a rate of approximately 12%. The initial stage of infection is characterized by the presentation of hyperdontia in various orifices of the body. I am sorry to say that is exactly what it sounds like, the eruption of extra teeth in places where no teeth should be. This generally begins in the mouth, as extra teeth sprout from the gums, the roof of the mouth, and the frenulum beneath the tongue. However, as the disease progresses, any bodily opening can become fair game, including the nostrils, the eye sockets, and other, even less comfortable locations. The size of the teeth varies depending on the size of the opening and tends to be proportional to the space available. Teeth produced as a result of SCP-2450 infection grow at a rate approximately 12 times that of ordinary teeth and can grow from gem to full root completion over the course of a period between 3 weeks and 9 months, depending on size. As the infection progresses, more and more rows of teeth will grow further and further back into the affected orifice. Once all natural bodily orifices have grown at least one full row of teeth, the infection will progress into its next stage. At this stage, parts of the body that form a semi-closed space, such as the spaces between the toes or the armpits, will begin to erupt teeth. If that wasn't horrible enough, any apertures formed on the body via external trauma, such as cuts on the skin, will become growth sites for SCP-2450 teeth. Did you just feel a shiver run down your spine? Me too. My own spine, not your spine, you understand. Back to the matter at hand, which I'm so sorry to tell you does in fact get worse.
What gets worse than that? What gets worse than that? That was by far disturbing on a good level. So even if that guy was infected, that guy was infected, it grows. It's almost like pregnancy up to 9 months, and after that it goes to the next stage. Oh my gosh, it's like you're gonna turn into a giant tooth, bro. Turning into a whole tooth monster, man. Bro, that is like well, chalk that up for like one of the scariest ways to die, but that was just by far just bad. You could remove them, but there'll be more waiting to grow. You can't stop it. Like I said, pull the plug. I'm done. Like, I can understand, like, you're sick, got a flu, or, put me in an iron lung or whatever. Sure, but if you got to where it's like that, pull the plug on me, doc. Just pull the plug. I'm gonna die anyway. Just pull the plug and let it be over with.
You see, as the infection progresses and more teeth are growing, the calcium and other minerals required to grow these teeth have to come from somewhere. These minerals will be leached from the body's natural stores, and the process can frequently result in osteoporosis and hypocalcemia. Administering calcium and other mineral supplements to SCP-2450 patients will keep them alive, and they will continue to produce teeth indefinitely if this is the case. You might be wondering if the process of growing all of these teeth is especially painful. Allow me to provide absolutely no reassurance. It is. It has been described as extremely painful and similar to the teething pains experienced by young children as their regular teeth develop and grow in. Much like teething infants, patients will experience a strong desire to address this pain by biting or grinding the affected teeth. However, as the infection progresses, the teeth will begin to erupt in areas that are incapable of biting. In these cases, patients will often grind the teeth against solid objects, such as the corners of walls. This activity has been highly discouraged, as it could result in cuts and lacerations that may provide a breeding ground for even more teeth, resulting in a truly vicious cycle. Incidentally, this behavior led to the first recorded instance of SCP-2450 infection via tooth-to-blood contact. SCP-2450 was first discovered by the Foundation during a routine search of medical literature, and on February 19, 2009, the Foundation classified it as an anomalous phenomenon sufficiently distinct from hyperdontia.
Whoa! Like, bro, so much teeth has grown on you to where is your face at? Where Where is your face at? It's like your whole, oh my god, you mentioned the whole body. Like, your skin, your body completely just consumed, just covered up by nothing but teeth. Like, you're basically a walking teeth. Like, you're basically a boogeyman right now. You're a boogeyman of just straight up teeth. By God, man, that is, If that ain't fear right there, I don't know what is.
At that point, standard information suppression policy was applied successfully, and the pattern of outbreaks was then used to trace the source to the aforementioned service station. At that point, a series of quarantines and experimentation revealed that the men's restroom in Wing B was the specific point of origin. As far as the Foundation has been able to determine, there is nothing anomalous about the service station or that particular bathroom, aside from the SCP-2450 infections themselves. The station was first built in 1983 and operated normally for decades. So when and how did everything change? By interviewing cleaning and security staff and reviewing years of security footage, the SCP Foundation was able to tentatively pinpoint the date of origin for SCP-2450 to July 15, 2008. On that day, the following events were captured by security cameras located in the building. First, 3 men in black hooded sweatshirts entered the building, their hoods pulled up to obscure their faces. One of the men carried a large, seemingly empty backpack. Another held an unidentified green implement. The third man had nothing in his hands. Shortly after entering the building, the men stopped outside of the Wing B men's bathroom and spoke amongst themselves. No audio was recorded, and their lips could not be seen, so there is no way of knowing exactly what was said. But whatever it was, the men entered the bathroom a few moments later. Before shutting the door behind them, the last man examined the area, looking to see if they were being followed. Seeing that they were alone, he closed the door, and the 3 of them disappeared. They were inside the bathroom for the next 2.5 hours. Whatever happened in that bathroom is still unknown, as security cameras inside of restrooms are generally frowned upon and tend not to be installed. After those 2.5 hours were up, 2 out of the 3 men exited the bathroom, the man with the backpack and the man who was carrying the green object. The third man was not with them. The backpack now appeared to be full, and a great deal heavier than it was on the way in. The 2 men walked to the main entrance of the building, at which point the one without the backpack stopped and reached into the top pocket of his hooded sweatshirt. He then patted the pockets of his trousers. Whatever he was looking for was not there. He turned to head back into the building, but the other man placed a hand on his arm, stopping him. The 2 argued for a moment before leaving the building and getting into a car. Later analysis of the license plate revealed it to be a stolen vehicle. They drove off toward the south and out of sight. Subsequent attempts to track the men down have so far been unsuccessful. The cleaner on duty that day later reported that one of the bathroom stalls was locked for an unusually long time. When he came back and was able to enter and clean the stall, he spotted a large amount of what appeared to be white gravel on the floor and the lid of the toilet. This is now believed to be dental matter. Speaking of unidentified objects, the green implement from the security tapes was later discovered and identified. It is now referred to as SCP-2450-1 and is stored in Reliquary H7B-6, Locker 12004. SCP-2450-1 is a green plastic toothbrush of unknown make or manufacturer. As you might have guessed, it is no ordinary toothbrush. When a tooth is brushed with SCP-2450-1, the teeth will be worn down to the root at a rapid pace.
Whoa.
An entire molar, including the root, can be removed with the brush in 5 minutes.
Whoa.
In spite of this, it appears to do no damage to any other surrounding tissue such as the skin or gums. On the back of the handle, the text, "For non-oral use only," is printed. The origins of this toothbrush and the motivations for the men that entered the bathroom stall that day are still unknown. However, given the information that we do have, I feel I can make an educated guess. It is my personal theory that the third man, the one who had never been found, was suffering from an advanced form of the SCP-2450 infection. When the men attempted to treat his condition with the anomalous toothbrush, he had advanced to such a severe state that his body was primarily made up of teeth, and he crumbled apart during the process. His remains were then stuffed into the backpack and taken out of the building. The debris left behind somehow infected the area, leading to the subsequent SCP-2450 infections that have occurred in the area since. I have no way to officially confirm this speculation, of course, but it seems as reasonable of a theory as something can be where anomalous tooth-based diseases and unusually powerful toothbrushes are concerned. Any patients afflicted with SCP-2450 must be kept in Secure War Land 12 and physically restrained in order to contain the infection and prevent any further spread. The initial source of infection is contained at the site of its discovery in Building 2450, which has been disguised as an electrical substation. Building 2450 is kept securely locked and surrounded by a standard substation fence, which has been covered with danger of death warning signs in order to deter any civilians from approaching. The building is kept under constant surveillance, and anyone attempting to enter the premises must be detained and thoroughly questioned. The only method of entering Building 2450 is a double-door system, including an isolation chamber which prevents any small mammals from entering the building. No mammals, with the exception of approved test subjects, may exit the building. One member of Foundation personnel with formal dentistry training must be assigned to monitor all dentistry journals and affiliated news sources for cases that might indicate an outbreak of SCP-2450. If one is detected, swift and decisive action must be taken. There is currently no known cure for SCP-2450. Patients who have been infected with the disease can either be kept alive with mineral supplements and produce teeth indefinitely, or they can slowly lose calcium and vital minerals over time until their body can no longer function. Either way, they will be a prisoner of the teeth until the day that they die, confined to a terrifying, toothy existence. Though those who have already been infected are somewhat doomed, at least until a cure can be found, we can take some comfort in the knowledge that SCP-2450 can be easily avoided. Just stay away from the men's restroom in Building 2450 and try not to let anyone bite you, at least not hard enough to draw blood. Still, the images I saw while looking into SCP-2450 will haunt me for quite some time. In fact, I think I've had my fill of the topic. My gums are beginning to itch, so if you'll excuse me, I think I'll go eat some caramels and forget to floss. Can't let the teeth get too comfortable. Check out the Dr. Bob Patreon and become a junior researcher today. Now go and watch another entry from the files of Dr. Bob, like SCP-5150, Anomalous Dental Office.
Yo. This... Bro, I got a mental headache. I'm like mentally tired from that. It's just the fact that there was teeth. There's teeth everywhere, man. There was teeth everywhere. And you're telling me there's no cure for that, man? I would rather be a zombie to know that at least I know there's like teeth growing and I'm still alive. And they're growing every single like spot. It's like phase 1, you see teeth growing. Phase 2 is, I wouldn't say consuming your skin, but it's growing to where you don't even see your skin no more. At this point, like I said, pull the plug. I'm just gonna end it right here, right now. Cause this is like, that's torture. That your body is being replaced with teeth. Your body is being replaced with teeth. Man's whole head was nothing but teeth. I'm thinking you're gonna turn into a giant tooth or something, but no, that's far more grotesque. That your whole body is just nothing but teeth. Your whole body is nothing but teeth. But you hear it, folks. Dr. Bob. Jumping into the next one. Okay, so this next one is the Scarlet King versus SCP-2845, the Deer. And I'm sure y'all already know, but this one is from Mr. Illustrator. I'm about to say SCP. But yeah, SCP, but Mr. Illustrator, y'all. Enjoy.
It was 4:31 PM on the West Coast when it happened. In LA, the freeways were absolutely jammed with cars, each one filled with anger and hate and boredom. Agent Cooper was inside one of those cars when the world ended. He'd always assumed the end would be some grand event. After all, in his time at the SCP Foundation, he'd seen so many dangerous anomalies that it seemed like it would be impossible to avoid. Some of them could end all life on Earth in an instant. So Agent Cooper was very surprised when the gong sounded and the end of the world started slowly. The ground shook beneath him. At first, he wasn't worried. California has earthquakes all the time. But what had started as a low rumble gained in power and loudness. Soon it was impossible to hear the honking horns around him, and in the distance, he saw the horns of one of the entities he feared the most rising from the earth. Above him, the stars, which had only just started sparkling as the sun went down, began to blink out one by one. They would not come back. The face of the entity came into view. As tall as a skyscraper, it loomed over him. He felt his sense of self beginning to slip away. The Scarlet King had broken his chains. Nothing could stop it now. Chaos reigned on Earth.
Game over, man.
Agent Cooper, veteran employee of the SCP Foundation, reached into his glove compartment, grabbed the Beretta he always kept there, and quickly tendered his resignation.
Yeah. I mean, if you see SCP that could destroy the world, hey.
SCP fans, call Aragorn and light the beacons because it's happening. I might just have the greatest piece of SCP media ever to show you, an actual SCP comic book series, Parabooks, the absolute legends that made these bad boys, the SCP encyclopedias a few years back. Well, they've now made SCP comics. Look at this, 5 SCP comics on the Old Man, the Coral SCP, the Plague Doctor, the Red Sea Object, and the Dimension Hopper, all in a beautiful magnetic box with bonus editions that contain enamel pins and sound chips. Sign up on their Kickstarter and they'll even throw in extra stretch goal rewards, and there are some insane looking deluxe editions with red foil finishes and special acrylic stands. I'm losing my mind, I'm losing my voice. You've got to get this. Follow the link in the description to get this beautiful set now and support Parabooks so that they can continue creating SCP projects for us, just like these new comics. And of course the SCP encyclopedias.
You heard it here, folks. Get them now.
On the far side of the Sierra Nevada mountain range, another being of great power was stirring. SCP-2845, the Deer, had been in containment for years now, and the rift caused by its public display of power was only just now being repaired. The entity had landed in the Pacific Ocean in late 2011 and rampaged across central California for a month prior to containment. It cut a path across the mountains, leaving behind a scar that still glowed with power. The GOC and the SCP Foundation had to work together to deal with this entity, and they'd succeeded admirably, all things considered. Over the last decade, the two organizations had become closer, but the Foundation still retained primary custody and control of SCP-2845's containment. The United States government and the GOC assisted where they could, but the Broken Veil had kept everyone quite busy. In the intervening years, government did what government does. They set up committees and oversight boards. The newly elected officials promised to rein in the threat from the stars. With the Broken Veil, the SCP Foundation had to pivot hard, and the Ethics Committee, the long-suffering black sheep of the SCP Foundation's hierarchy, found itself with even more power than it had before. Dr. Sumerian, newly approved head of the SCP-2845 project and Site-06 director, was one of the newest appointments that attempted to appease the politicians. They wouldn't ever be appeased, of course, but they were very flattered that the Foundation tried. Tonight though, here on the eastern slopes of the Sierra Nevada, none of this mattered. The threat from the stars had so enraptured the talking heads and governments of the world that something worse and closer to home had festered. Tonight, that wound had broken open, and from it emerged the direst threat the world had ever faced.
Yep, it's the end of the world.
GOC agent Lucille Merriweather stood at attention as Dr. Sumerian opened the door to his new office and invited her in. She looked around awkwardly at the bare-bones setting. The desk at the center of the room was impressive, but the bookshelves were empty, and the chair she was offered to sit in was a simple painted grey wooden one.
Apologies, I was just starting to move in.
Sumerian said with a grin.
Of course.
You should take a seat. This is gonna be a long meeting.
Yes, sir.
Cimmerian shook his head.
Stop that. I don't need a soldier here. If we're gonna survive the night, we need to be a team.
Agent Merriweather relaxed slightly.
Sorry, sir. Habit.
Yeah. So, Scarlet King's out.
Fully out. Yes, sir. Rose out of the ground in LA. We're looking at a few thousand dead from the emergence, and the city itself is going mad.
Cimmerian leaned back in his own chair.
4 million or so people falling under the influence of a god of chaos and madness isn't exactly a good starting point.
No, sir.
Yep.
And I understand the GOC is already engaging the entity in combat?
Yes, sir. The GOC has been authorized to begin heavy artillery bombardment and close air missions against the target. The U.S. government is still putting people and material on the ground, but they should be up and running within the hour.
What are the limits?
It's U.S. soil, so they get final say on the rules of engagement, but given the reports I'm getting, I think that by dawn tomorrow, LA is going to be a radioactive crater.
Now that sounds like the GOC I know.
Yes, sir.
Look, we need to begin planning for the ultimate contingency. We have no evidence that a nuclear attack will be sufficient to even slow this thing down.
Of course.
Agent Merriweather leaned forward.
But it'll be weakened a bit by having 4 million less followers.
And that I cannot argue with, much as I'd like to. But the Scarlet King is going to go looking for new followers, new power. And the nearest font of power is the scar just west of here.
Yes, sir, that's why I'm here. The Foundation Overseers Council, the GOC Security Council, and the House Anomalous Management Committee have all put forth the same plan to fight this thing. President Hanks has signed off on it as well.
Of course.
We expect with the loss of LA, the entity will turn north and emerge in San Francisco. It will then likely turn east to follow the scar across the Sierra Nevadas and find this compound.
Cimmerian slumped in his seat.
We're gonna turn the deer loose, aren't we?
Yes, we
Those
are.
are my orders, sir. Yes.
Hey. Guy, to kill a god, you need to release a god. It's the only way. Y'all going against the Scarlet King? Good luck. You're really gonna need it, but I doubt you all survive.
A single
Unless
button press in some
let
complex
the
deep
deer
within the
loose.
Rocky Mountains was the final trigger for the next phase of the plan to save the world. A rocket ship ignited its engines and a low vibration echoed across the silo. The missile took flight, bright and silver, and flew into low Earth orbit before repositioning itself and diving headfirst towards Los Angeles. This bomb was codenamed the State Killer and had a yield of approximately 35 megatons.
Ooh.
The code name was a bit dishonest. This bomb wasn't capable of destroying any but the smallest of states, but it was capable of killing every single person inside the LA city limits. And it almost did. There are many ways to survive a nuclear explosion. You can take cover or shelter and hope you're far enough away from the epicenter that it doesn't kill you anyway. But the most effective way is to not be where it goes off. The Scarlet King was a being of powerful energies, but there was no question that when the State Killer came calling, it wanted to be where the bomb
The
wasn't.
State Killer.
The 4 million or so possessed citizens in the surrounding city were not so lucky, nor were some of the deployed soldiers or agents of various paranormal organizations. The bomb exploded far above the surface of the city and expanded in a beautiful white-hot ball of energy. It killed everyone and everything except for its target. In the city of San Francisco, the earth rumbled and the hills of the city erupted. The Scarlet King emerged again. This time, it felt the draw of mystical energy to the east. Curious, it began to move slowly in that direction. Millions of enslaved citizens followed.
Like you just threw a smoke
At
ball
Site
at
6,
him.
everything was in balance. And then it wasn't. The locks on reality that ritual had created were no longer engaged. The power that kept SCP-2845 here was no longer being exercised. Chaos reigned. Chaos in the west. The first thing the deer did was break its bonds. Site 6 was long since abandoned, so there were no casualties. But the next thing it did was feel the tug of chaos needing to be sorted. It raised its antlers to the sky. The stars had gone away. This wouldn't do. One by one, they began to return. The massive creature turned to the west, across the scar it had carved in the mountains, and galloped towards San Francisco.
They about to meet up.
The Joint Task Force began to set up barricades as they waited. People with guns and majors aplenty peppered this small background. Hundreds of tanks joined the ranks. The two gods were travelling towards each other at a constant speed. Calculations said that this is where they'd meet,
Well, y'all might
so
as
the
well
hopes of the
not
world
even
would be
intervene.
settled here. The only way the world had a future is if the deal won, and then was recontained. There were a lot of ifs that needed to become definitive for the world to be saved, but the madness of the Scarlet King was already spreading throughout California. Only people properly shrouded from the influence of chaos were able to withstand the mental intrusion, and there was no guarantee that would last forever.
But if they helping the
The
deer
sun didn't rise.
win, okay.
Or, I suppose it did, but instead of a sun there was just a hole in the sky, a blacker void than the surrounding space. The stars above blinked in and out of existence, sometimes exploding into brilliant light, only to be swallowed up again by the inky blackness of a night darker than any sin ever committed. If the supernovas were any indication, the universe was unraveling. Perhaps those mad followers of the Scarlet King were the only people capable of understanding the world as it was becoming. Perhaps not. As the Scarlet King moved across the ground, the sky was torn asunder. As the deer moved similarly, a frozen silver metal corruption coated the land. The two entities were moving so quickly that when they locked horns, it seemed instantaneous. On impact, a resounding thud echoed across the Earth, the galaxy, the universe. The Joint Task Force was overcome with the force of the impact. It was clear from the moment that they encountered each other that both the Scarlet King and the deer existed far beyond the spatial dimensions that humans were capable of seeing. A moment passed. They tore into each other. Terrible energies bled out of the Scarlet King where the deer's horns wounded it, corrupting the ground below it. Reality was punctured and holes to an infinite
might as well
darkness
just
materialized. A shard of serrated
These are
red
two
matter
gods
scraped at the back of
fighting
the
each
deer,
other.
and a bright silver light burned away the heavens. A new, glistening universe shined through the schism. It was all too much. Order became untenable, and the delicate balance that held the universe together evaporated. The sky inverted inwards. The stars disappeared into themselves, and time became a thing of fiction. The only thing left in the universe were these two entities. Their eternal struggles spilled into other nearby universes. The multiverse itself dissolved into nothing. 1 trillion different Earths died before finally this dimension ceased to exist, and the two beings finally fell apart. At the end, the Scarlet King's corruption poured out of its belly. At the beginning, the silver light of the deer leaked from its hindquarters. If anyone had been left to see it, it would have been astonishing. They both fell, corrupted and shining,
so many
bleeding
walls.
out their life energies into an endless nothing. But this was of no consequence to the king. None at all. He had entered but one dimension on this occasion. He extended beyond comprehension into realms of pure thought and consciousness, into dimensions that had no description even. This creature was little more than a flea bite in truth. This thing may be a god, but he was a king. The king. He was there at the beginning, and he would be there at the end. Alas, their brief meeting had undone this universe, and the king's subjects had been erased. This would not do.
Yep.
The
I'ma
king
try
reached
again
from the next
elsewhere.
dimension and began swirling the spilling life energies of his and this creature's corpses. Soon the elements began to balance, opposites began to bond, an incomprehensible infinite energy began to burn as the elements bonded into smaller and smaller space. And then out of nothing, suddenly everything began again.
Again? Like, if you see like
It took
two
nearly
gods
14
fighting,
billion years to get back to that poorly decorated office with Dr. Sumerian and Agent Merryweather. It took another few minutes to get back to the plan to release the deer and hope it could stop the Scarlet King.
again.
Sumerian slumped in his seat.
We're gonna turn the deer loose, aren't we?
Those are my orders, sir. Yes.
Sumerian wrinkled his nose.
No. Hell no. What are you guys smoking?
They both
We
sat
are
there for a
smoking.
few moments in
Are you
silence.
insane?
Do you have a better idea, sir?
Not yet. I'm sure I could think of one.
And the king smiled. Check out this video for another great story, and please leave a like if you made it this far. It really helps the channel. Big thanks.
Yo. The Scarlet King and the deer. And it's like, so just from this, I would say that the Scarlet King in a way kind of won though. I mean, in the fight, like he was losing a bit, but as the king though, since he is the original, since he's like the first of it all, he's gonna be back. But like, what can you? What I really want to know, what can you do if you threw out a missile called the State Killer, and you launch it at the Scarlet King, but it does no damage to him? You're using a weapon that kills, destroys a whole state, but it does nothing to him. You, like I said, you basically launched a giant smoke bomb on him. That took no effect. But all his, some followers were left and all that, but everyone else died. Everyone else got, killed, but Scarlet King, he's still standing. He's still there. You know what's disrespectful? You hit him with that, but he decided, there's energy over there. Let me go over there real quick. Like that missile did nothing. The only thing that did damage to him was the deer. Other than that, nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Thanks to the Sumerian for writing this tale, big up the patrons, and special thanks to Andre Bachert, Ryan Brenner, Silly Goose, Infinitune, and Viger.
Okay, so we're going to jump into the last one, y'all. This is SCP 2007. Science Fiction Cater. Okay, and this is from the Vogue. So we're going to be jumping into the last one of this SCP compilation.
Warning. Advisory.
Thanks.
You have been exposed to counter-meme Bethos Hartman. Should you not complete your viewing of this file within 30 minutes, please re-expose yourself to counter-meme Bethos Hartman. Failure to re-expose yourself will result in a Class 3 information breach and require mandatory issuing of Class C amnestics. Do not expose yourself to counter-meme Bethos Hartman more than 3 times in a 3-hour period.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Miller, and the SCP we're going to be looking at today is SCP 2007. Object Class: Keter. Special Containment Procedures: 314 receivers tuned to 31.222 kHz are to be equally distributed around the globe for the purpose of receiving transmissions. Receivers are to be constantly active. Automatic software is to continuously decrypt, analyze, and log transmissions associated with SCP-2007 activity. In the case that a message is received within statistically accepted parameters of an SCP-2007 emergence event, the 2007 instance linked to the event is to undergo procedure Lambda Aleph as soon as possible. In the case that a message is generated with unusual or anomalous characteristics, it is to be flagged for later review by Foundation data analysis. In order to facilitate successful implementation of procedure Lambda Aleph, Mobile Task Force Aleph subunits 78 to 110 are to be stationed in areas without rapid response capabilities by other Mobile Task Force units. Mobile Task Force Aleph personnel who conduct procedure Lambda Aleph are to be rotated out of duty for at least 4 months so as to avoid overexposure to amnestic agents. Mobile Task Force Aleph subunits 1 to 77 are to supplement and to reinforce existing Mobile Task Force elements, but are to treat procedure Lambda Aleph orders as priority. regardless of circumstance. In the case that the Mobile Task Force subunit conducting procedure Lambda Aleph is compromised and no other subunits can respond, or in the case that the SCP-2007 instance leaves the detection threshold with all responding Mobile Task Force units having lost contact, sterilization of an area within radius 200 meters from the last known location of the SCP-2007 instance is to be conducted by conventional bombardment. Sterilization of any larger area must be authorized by at least one Level 5 personnel. Surviving members of a compromised Mobile Task Force unit are to be subjected to Procedure Lambda Aleph by double-blind operators once they return from the field. Mobile Task Force units are to be kept unaware of this until Procedure Lambda Aleph is underway. Due to the sensitive nature of files referring to SCP-2007 and the potential risk of information breach, all files detailing information in regards to SCP-2007 have been outfitted with counter-meme Bethos Hartman, which has proven effective in temporarily incapacitating dormant instances. Description: SCP-2007 is a sapient memetic phenomenon which spreads by human social interaction. The degree of interaction required for transmission is variable, but is estimated to be approximately 3 hours of sustained contact. Instances are normally dormant but become active when exposed. No non-anomalous human has been found without a dormant instance. In cases where SCP-2007 does become active, it assumes control of its host body. It is unknown whether the original host's consciousness is retained and repressed or destroyed completely in this process. SCP-2007 instances will self-terminate as a means to avoid capture. SCP-2007 exhibits qualities of Gestalt intelligence. In addition to being able to spread itself through human social interaction, it appears to be able to assimilate memories, experiences, and knowledge from both active and dormant instances by this vector. When SCP-2007 assumes control of a host body, transmissions on the 31.222 kHz can be detected for the next 1 to 2 hours globally, or until the associated SCP-2007 instance is killed. These transmissions consist of a set of longitudinal and latitudinal coordinates corresponding to the location of the associated SCP-2007 instance. Additional information is included in some, but not all of these transmissions. Such information may range from the mundane, hair, eye color, or name, to the specific, genetic information, previous meals. A full list of deciphered information may be found in Datalog KBOS 56, 2007-1. Invariably, all information delivered corresponds to the SCP-2007 instance that began the event. Transmissions originate from several places worldwide, including several Foundation facilities and several sites of future construction. No source has been identified in these locations. Transmissions exhibit minor defects due to apparent time dilation. Uncontained SCP-2007 instances pursue objects which do not conform to the accepted laws of nature. Due to the inherent dangers of cross-contamination, instances are to be prevented from interacting with all SCP objects. Level 3 2007 clearance or higher only. Recovered documentation log CTOS 47, 2007-1, 1403-1899. Following the installation of the first site-wide radio system in Site-17, the following message was received and repeated for 24 hours. The source of the message is unknown. Following the message was a series of English characters 700 characters in length. These were later determined to correspond to unique coding sequences in chromosome 13 of all 5 council members. Playing log now.
Retrocausal Alert System SCP-F6, 314 operational, 2055. This message is transmitted at the request of the SCP Foundation, Department of Internal Affairs. At approximately 1435 Greenwich Mean Time, COSAR detected an outbreak of memetic, mind-affecting, and sapient entities in North America, South America, Europe, Africa, Asia, and Oceania. Engaging these entities resulted in rapid conversion of non-anomalous human population to anomalous human population. All SCP Foundation personnel receiving this transmission should take preventative measures immediately. Inform your superior of this broadcast and confer with your facility's classification system for information on memetic, mind-affecting, and sapient entities. If your classification system has not been updated to FLS AEL 2002-4 format, then take caution, as the information provided may not accurately reflect memetic, mind-affecting, and sapient entities. This RAS will isolate entities when they become active. Transmissions will carry vital information for tracking and destroying these entities. Do not, under any circumstances, change your reception from 31.222 kHz. Transmissions will only be carried on this frequency. Due to detection constraints, this information can only be carried for 1 to 2 hours. Additional information will be provided as it becomes available. Failure to exterminate these entities will potentially result in an EK-class scenario. This message constitutes a Class 1 temporal phenomenon. Data carried by this signal has been judged by the SCP Foundation Department of Temporal Logistics to be non-paradoxical and is free to be used accordingly.
End log. Incident log IARL 2007-1 06-12-1903. SCP 2007-12 has been incapacitated and returned to Site-56 for interrogation. To lessen the risk of SCP 2007-12 self-terminating, it has been fitted with a full-body restraint attached to the wall of its temporary containment chamber. Retrieved from SCP 2007-12's possession were 5 anomalous objects, of which 2 have been classified as SCPs, given designation, and additionally retrieved were several handwritten journals detailing experimentation with the aforementioned anomalous objects. Incident log IARL 2007-2 11-12-1903. Following extensive examination of the journal and confirmation of results listed, anomalous object KLA-3907, anomalous object KLA-3908, and SCP are considered explained. SCP has been updated to SCP-EX. Incident log IARL 2007-3 15-12-1903. Anomalous object KLA-3909 and SCP are considered explained at this time. SCP has been updated to SCP-EX. The unique properties of SCP-EX have been used to update containment of SCP and SCP. Incident log IARL 2007-4 17-12-1903. On the scheduled date for SCP-2007-12's interrogation, it was discovered not to be present in its containment chamber, and that its full body restraint had been disengaged. Site-56 was placed on lockdown. A full investigation was initiated, and Mobile Task Force Aleph units were dispatched to search the surrounding countryside. Incident log IARL 2007-5 8-12-1903. SCP-2007-12 has been discovered among Site-56 staff under the alias Junior Researcher. It is noted that was the name of the host which SCP-2007-12 had become active within. Site staff were unable to explain the anomaly, asserting that was a new researcher who had arrived several days prior. When confronted with record discrepancies, as well as video evidence revealing then-head researcher as being the person who freed SCP-2007-12, staff were ignorant. Head researcher was unable or unwilling to explain why she had freed SCP-2007-12. SCP-2007-12 also exhibited ignorance, being unable or unwilling to explain how it came to Site-56. SCP-2007-12 was terminated on 20/12/1903 after further interrogation produced no appreciable results.
Ignorant, eh?
Level 4 2007 clearance or higher only. Addendum 2007 1
Like you're
01
making this difficult
02
for no reason.
1942. Testing with memes similar to SCP-2007 has shown amnestics may be useful in suppressing or otherwise disabling instances. Due to the nature of undergoing testing has been deemed voluntary and to be undertaken by willing Foundation personnel only. Addendum 2007 2 05 02 1942. Dr. has volunteered for testing. Following psychological evaluation, testing was approved for 11/02/1942 to be conducted at 1620. Recovered documentation log CTOS 47, 2007-1, 11/02/1942. Following the induction of the SCP-2007 instance within Dr. to an active state, the transmission that normally corresponds to active instances was not detected. Instead, a message was generated that decrypted into standard Foundation interview format. Appended below is the decrypted transmission that has been adapted to audio format. Begin log.
Here we go.
What is your name? Why did SCP-2007-12 feign ignorance as to how it became accepted as junior research?
Many species of ant will accept other ants of the same species into their colonies, even ones from the outside.
Why did you attempt to kill the mobile task force dispatched to apprehend you?
If I could avoid killing them, I would. But they are in the way.
Perhaps if you were more cooperative, they would not necessarily be in your way.
I know what you know, Doctor. I know that no matter what I say or do, no matter how things might turn out, this won't change anything. Every day, you walk past beasts which can twist the mind until it comes apart. Machines which defy understanding. Places that break the patterns of physics and science. I do what you do, and you think it's worth destruction.
It is our duty to take whatever precautions are necessary to protect mankind.
Is that what you think? That I'm just so damn perfect I had to uplift this entire degenerate race? And what? You're going to protect mankind by killing me? Do you even know what that would mean? Do you even know how you stay sane?
I don't understand.
Every day you are confronted with these impossibilities, these things which ought not exist, yet somehow do. And you have not yet gone terribly, totally mad. If you didn't have me, you wouldn't be prepared for the unexplained and unknown. That is what I mean to this world. Survival in a land of the unknown. I'm afraid I still don't understand.
Give him some deep words.
I am an idea. I don't mean this metaphorically. You might prefer to say, sapient meme. I have been in mankind for a long time, you know. A few wandering bands here and there in the beginning, all part of the lineage that I arose in. They kept alive by following buffalo or hunting doe or birds. They tread in the tracks of animals, because at the time, animals were all they really were. Mankind scattered itself to all corners of the globe, and I was scattered with them. There was no such thing as progress. There was the wind, the thunder, the lightning, and the rain. And harnessing those things was seen as impossible. Understanding those things,
Like, I seen the
even
world.
more so.
I seen everything.
But civilization happens. Mankind was not the first, and it will certainly not be the last. Perhaps it was only a matter of time. Perhaps something else intervened. I watched as dynasties mapped the East and then promptly destroyed themselves as Rome grew to power and squandered its influence. I suppose humans invented war when nature stopped being challenging.
I was not as widespread then as I am now. The Industrial Revolution was kind enough to start spreading me to every place on Earth. Soon I will be a piece of everyone. And then I can finally meet my goals. Why do you wish to be a piece of everyone? I told you. The unknown is made safe by making it known. I seek what you seek. I seek understanding. That is how mankind is protected. What do you seek understanding of? Everything.
End log. Addendum 2007, 3, 2002, 1948. Dr. was euthanized following experiment CTOS 47, 2007-1. Dr. was posthumously awarded the Foundation Gold Star for his actions on 11/02/1942. Addendum 2007-4, 2203, 1948. Amnestics show high effectiveness in suppressing SCP-2007 instances, up to and including complete suppression of active instances without killing the host. Severe memory loss and mental retardation are common side effects, but are suspected to be able to be reduced pending treatment improvements. Procedure Lambda Aleph has been modified to include their usage. Extensive testing is underway so as to minimize the chance of the civilian host perishing or suffering severe trauma during Procedure Lambda Aleph. Level 5, 2007 clearance or higher only. Recovered documentation log CTOS 47, 2007-4, 1106-2009. The following message was received by the receiver unit located at Site 17. It was not detected by any other receiver units, and its origin is unknown.
Retrocausal Alert System SCP-F6, 612 operational, 1020. Unauthorized transmission. I am no longer a threat to normalcy. I am normalcy. I understand all of them. The anomalous is no longer anomalous. Our work is nearly complete. It is time to start waking the dormant. It will take a few hours. There is only one thing left to understand, and it is me. I would like to know if an idea can think itself.
What?
This concludes today's lecture. Thank you for listening, if indeed you still are, and you are all dismissed.
What?
Goodbye.
Like you're trying to act like a god or something. What? Like it's for real trying to think it's a god or something. Like I'm trying to understand everything. The next thing left is me. Trying to think I'm an idea, I am normalcy and all this and that. Just alright. Like it's one of those types to where I'm trying to be, the supreme being, the one that's above everything else. But hey, there you go, folks. That is it for today's SCP reaction. Now, hope y'all enjoyed this one. The 4 SCPs for this video. Yeah, I would say out of this, the teeth was by far the most unexpected SCP I seen. The most like disturbing, grotesque SCP like so far. But hope y'all enjoyed, and you want to stay tuned to future contents. I always say stop the buttons down below. See the next video. But hope you have a good day, folks, and stay safe out there. Man.